What's good, y'all, man? It's Striving to Prosper here. And I've been messing around with Nyx for a little bit just to see what she's still capable of doing, and oh my goodness, she is still beyond cracked, and I feel like everyone should have her. To me, I feel like she is definitely top 10 in the game, at least. She has one of the best, if not the best, crowd control ability in the game, and the fact that she's immortal. And I'll be showing you 3 builds today that I feel like are great for you to use. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to start off, let's talk about Nyx's passive ability. Nyx gains plus 40% critical chance on primary and secondary weapons per confused enemy within affinity range, which is 50 meters, up to 200%. This is caused when enemies are afflicted with radiation damage. Now for her first ability, Mind Control. Nyx seizes control of a target's mind, compelling them to fight for you, making them immune to any source of damage. During this stage of immunity, when you shoot at a compelled target, you will increase the damage multiplier, boosting its damage it deals to other enemies, dealing radiation damage. And on the bottom right of my screen, that's pretty much the number that you see down there. That's the damage multiplier, and that's the amount of radiation damage it's going to deal to other enemies. And the augment mod for this ability is called Mind Freak. Controlled targets inflicts plus 1000 damage and gains plus 25% movement and attack speed. Honestly, I don't really think this is even worth it. If you can make it work, by all means use it. I don't really think it's necessary, so I won't be using it. I wouldn't really recommend it. All in all, the first ability alone is not really the greatest. If you armor strip, then yes, you can get some pretty good damage and some kills off of it. Even if the damage multiplier is high in numbers, it still doesn't offer that much. And it's like, this would definitely be the ability that you subsume off. So I wouldn't recommend using the augment mod. I wouldn't really recommend investing too much in this. Yes, it could get some enemy fire off of you, just some, because there's another target that they're aiming at. But other than that, it's kind of like hit or miss. If you like it, by all means, like I said, use it. Now for her second ability, Psychic Bolts. Nyx unleashes a volley of psychic bolts that track and strike nearby enemies with telekinetic precision. The bolts weaken enemy defenses. That includes shields, overguard, and armor. So when using psychic bolts, if you hit an enemy who is based off of shields, you'll get a portion of shields back. If you hit an enemy who's based off of armor, you'll get some armor back. And if you hit an enemy who's based off of overguard, you'll get a portion of their overguard back, giving Nyx some tankiness and also a lot of survivability in the process. And when an enemy affected by psychic bolts dies, it will spread 2 more bolts to other enemies around, reducing their armor in the process. A very powerful ability indeed, and when built correctly, you can completely armor strip enemies, making it even more cracked. Now for the augment of this ability, Pacifying Bolts. What this does is that you fire an additional 3 bolts, stunning enemies in the process while doing radiation damage. And this is the augment mod that we will be utilizing in our builds. For her third ability, Chaos. This ability is my favorite when playing Nyx because it literally makes everyone around you go completely berserk. Nyx releases a devastating psychic pulse, disorienting enemies in a wide radius, forcing them to turn on each other, dealing 10 radiation procs to the enemies. Not only are the enemies going crazy and turning on one another, they pretty much forget that you even exist, which increases your survivability by a huge amount because they're too busy worrying about killing each other than focusing on the target at hand, which is you, the Tenno. And that's why I feel like this is one of the best crowd controlling abilities. Yes, it may not be able to nuke large rooms like other Warframes can, but the fact that you can literally get the enemy fire off of you completely and also distract the enemies from doing the objectives, killing you and your teammates, it's up there in my opinion. The augment for Chaos is Chaos Sphere. Enemies entering the effect range will be inflicted with Chaos. Effect range lasts for 50% of the ability duration that shrinks over time. But to be honest, I don't really think there's a need for this augment. Yes, it helps hold down certain objectives like mobile defense, interception, excavation, but outside of that, it's not really that necessary, so I won't be using it. But of course, if you want to use it, if you feel like it helps your build in a way, by all means, do what you gotta do. It's your choice. And last but not least, for her fourth ability, Absorb. Nyx draws in and contains damage dealt to her and the damage confused enemies deal to each other, then converts it into a devastating radio blast, dealing magnetic damage. After the blast, she enters a brief and vulnerable state which lasts for 6 seconds, and also gaining a weapon damage boost proportional to the absorbed damage, capping at a plus 400% weapon damage boost at the max threshold. The explosion from Absorb isn't the greatest, so I recommend armor stripping everyone around you first so the detonation can destroy everyone around you. Now this ability can prove a little useless because of the fact, for one, if you don't armor strip enemies, then they're going to eat that explosion for breakfast. And for two, the fact that we really can't do anything while Absorb is active. But listen up. Before you guys think that you know the ability that you're about to Helminth out, she does have an augment mod that changes everything. That augment is called Assimilate. Nyx can move at 50% speed while using Absorb, but the area is reduced by half. This augment allows you to move freely and gives you the ability to use your weapons and your other abilities as well. Now I know, I can hear you guys right now. But Straven, I'm not trying to move as slow as a snail. Stay calm, my dear Tenno. I have a solution for that problem and you're going to see very shortly. Now, of course, like I stated before, if you feel like Assimilate isn't something that you want to go with and you don't think that it's necessary or worth it, that's completely fine. If you want to Helminth this ability out, you can do so. But I'd say wait until after I show you the builds and what this build is pretty much capable of, and then you can make your decision afterwards. And that wraps up everything about her abilities. If you are liking what you see so far, please leave a like. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me and I greatly appreciate it. Now let's get on with the builds. I have 3 builds I want to show you guys. One is a base Nyx build and the other 2 are Helminth builds. So it's a pretty straightforward build. This is our Assimilate build. We're going to be using this mod quite often. So we have Brief Respite for the aura slot for extra overshield on ability cast. Prime Sure-Footed because you don't want to be knocked on your behind. Yes, you're going to be in your 4 most of the time with this build, but you still don't want to get knocked down because you're going to get killed easier. Prime Flow for more energy and Prime Continuity for more duration. And then we have Stretch and Augur Reach for more range. And the good thing about this build, you don't really need a lot of duration or range. Now, 175% is like the perfect amount because your abilities will spread to other enemies over time. So there's no need to go super crazy on the range or the duration. This is like the perfect amount. Now, of course, if you want to tweak it, that's up to you, but I would recommend keeping this setup. Then we have Umbral Intensify for more ability strength. This can be replaced with regular Intensify to save some space. You only need 125% ability strength for a complete armor strip. So if you want to use regular Intensify, that's completely fine. You don't need Umbral. I want Umbral because I want more strength. So it's up to you. Then we have Adaptation just for some more survivability. You can switch this out with Rolling Guard if you want. That is a better choice in some situations. I like Adaptation because I like the damage reduction over time. Not only that, you may not even need to have one of these mods up here because of the fact that your 4th ability will keep you alive. You're not going to get hurt. You're going to stay alive pretty much as long as you can keep your energy up. So if you can maintain good energy, you're good. Then we're going with Equilibrium for energy management. This is going to help a lot to keep our energy up. And that's why you don't see me with any efficiency mods because Equilibrium really comes in clutch. Now, if you feel like you need some sort of efficiency, you can replace Adaptation or Rolling Guard, whatever you have, with Streamline because you really don't need the extra survivability because we're going to be in our 4th ability, like I said, all the time, and you're going to be good. So you can swap it out for more range, more duration, whatever suits you. And of course, the bread and butter of this entire build, Assimilate. This is what we're going to be using majority of the time. And for the Arcane slot, I went with Molt Augmented for more ability strength and Arcane Aegis for more shield recovery speed. Arcane Aegis is really good for survivability because on shield damage, you get extra shield recharge for 12 seconds. So this is really helpful. Now on to our next build and our first Helminth build, Roar. Now for our second build, we're going to be replacing our first ability, Mind Control, with Roar. With this build, this is going to be something that's going to buff our guns to the max. As you can see, this build is very similar to the other build, but we added a little bit of changes to it. For the aura slot, we're going with Combat Discipline. Now for my Tenno that don't know, this mod does look a little intimidating. It's like, why would anyone want to have this up here? There is a valid reason why, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. Then I went with Mobilize for more parkour velocity. We will be staying in our 4 pretty much 99% of the time, so we want more velocity with this build so we can move quicker. And of course we got Pacifying Bolts because we're gonna be armor stripping left and right, and this is just gonna spread it even more, and it's gonna deal radiation damage. It's gonna confuse the enemies. We're gonna give our guns the best chance possible to deal even more damage. And Augur Secrets for more ability strength. This is specifically for Absorb because we're going to be armor stripping a lot of the enemies. So when we detonate Absorb, it's going to shred everyone around. Now these arcanes that you see right here is the reason why Combat Discipline is important to have. The 10 health that you lose when killing an enemy will trigger the arcanes. So for Arcane Agility, when damaged, you get 60% parkour velocity for 18 seconds. This is really good to traverse the map really quickly when you roll. This is going to give you a lot of speed. And then we got Arcane Avenger for a 21% chance for plus 45% critical chance for 12 seconds. And you don't have to worry about survivability because when you stay in your 4, yes, you're going to see your health decline, but you're not going to die. And Equilibrium is going to make up for that. So we're good. We're going to have a lot of damage for our guns. We're going to be shredding the enemies. So if you're looking for a weapons platformer build for Nyx, this is the way to go. If you want to replace Roar with Zada's Whisper, that works just as good too. Now for my final Helminth build that I have for you guys is my favorite Nyx build of all time. My OG Tenno out there know where I'm getting at with this. Rest and Rage from Equinox. If you want to nuke, and I mean nuke everything around you with literal ease, this is the way to go. The build is exactly the same as my first build that I showed you without the Helminth. We're going to replace Adaptation or Rolling Guard with Calm and Frenzy. You want that augment because when you kill an enemy, it causes it to spread to other enemies within 5 meters for 100% of the remaining duration. Rage works really great with Chaos, making enemies attack each other a lot faster and deal way more damage to absorb, so your detonation is going to do so much damage. Rest just adds to crowd control and melee damage, and for those of you who are new and don't know, make sure you have a lighter emissive color for the daytime and a darker emissive color for the nighttime. That's how you switch between Rest and Rage. But for this build, we're strictly going with Rage. This is how you really get the most out of Absorb. And for the Arcanes, we went with Moat Augmented for more ability strength and Arcane Avenger for more critical chance for our weapons. There are a lot other Helminth abilities that you can put on Nyx because she's very flexible, but these are just the 2 that I wanted to show you guys today. Now with the build all out of the way, let's talk about the Archon Shards. These Archon Shards are the reason why you don't have to worry about moving very slow with Absorb active. So as you see, I went with a Tau Forge Parkour Velocity, 2 regular Parkour Velocities, and of course we want some casting speed because we want to cast our abilities pretty quickly. They're not the quickest, they're pretty slow, so you want to have those. Now I went overkill with the Parkour Velocity. You don't have to have all 3. You can pretty much use 1 Tau Forge Parkour Velocity or just 2 Parkour Velocities, and I'd say maybe 1 or 2 casting speeds. I would say use 2 casting speed shards just to be on the safe side. Of course I went overkill because Nyx is one of my favorite Warframes to play at the moment, and I've been playing nothing but Nyx, so of course I max out all the slots. But that's just me. You don't have to do it. Do what you will. Do what's good for you. Now for the weapons, there are only 2 primaries that I can fully suggest that you use for Nyx. Of course, there's a lot of other ones that you can use, but in my opinion, I feel like the Torrid Incarnate or the Boar Prime Incarnate are the best weapons you want to use. Unfortunately, I didn't work on the Torrid just yet, but I definitely have the Boar Prime, and this is literally one of my favorite shotguns to use, and this is the build. And for my Boar Prime Incarnate evolutions, I went with Refined Vein, Practice Grip, and Critical Parallel. And in regards to the secondary gun, you can use any weapon you want. I went with the Dual Toxicist Incarnate, and here's my build for that. And for the evolution, I went with Fevered Frenzy, Marksman's Hand, and Commodore's Fortune. And lastly, for my melee, I have the Glaive Prime. Of course, you can use any melee you want. You don't really need to use the Glaive. I love the Glaive personally. It clears rooms, it takes everyone out. It's a monster of a weapon. So here's the build and here's the setup. This is pretty much everything you need to know about Nyx. She is very, very powerful, and I feel like everyone should have her in your arsenal. I hope this video was informative and made you want to give Nyx a try yourself. For those of you who made it to the end, you are greatly appreciated. Please like and subscribe if you feel like I've earned it, and please leave a comment down below if you have any questions, concerns, or tips you would like to add yourself. Remember, all feedback is great feedback. We're on our journey to strive and prosper until we thrive. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out, man. We striving to the top until we thriving. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out, man.